So if we're going to make an analogy and anthropomorphize, so to speak, if you it might help if you've read the shaman page when I'm talking about the original awareness and consciousness. But let's make this into a mythological fairy tale analogy. Let's say there's God, and it's the original awareness. We cannot go before God. When the sentence that fascinates me about in the beginning was the word, but with the Greek logos, which has to do with logic, which has to do with reason, which has to do with distinction, either this or that. And I talk about the point of awareness that is aware of itself as a point, and then I make I look at the capital T, and it goes in this direction and that direction. So let's make up a mythology. In the beginning, there was God, that was awareness. If you don't want to call it God, in the beginning there was the awareness of existence, and it was a dot. And it thought, am I going to go left or am I not going to go left? And then connected to the shaman pages that it'd be the point at the intersection of the T and so on and so forth. And let's say that it goes, okay, I'm going to go left. But there's another part that thought, I could have gone right, or I could have not gone left. Okay. And in a sense, that part imagined that it didn't go left. And so, from a mythological perspective, that part had its own existence. And this is connected to those theorists that say that there are simultaneous infinite universes, where in one universe you're listening to me and you've got 1,000 hairs, and in another universe simultaneously you're listening to me and you've got 1,001 hairs, and then there's another universe where you've got 999 hairs, and so on and so forth. But it helps if you've looked at animations about Taurus, and you imagine the fractalization and the multiplication of all these possibilities. But let's say that they're in goddess mind. Okay, let's make this a feminine mythology, and awareness was goddess, and she was a dot, a she dot, and she realized, wow, I'm fucking aware, I fucking exist. Am I gonna go left or am I not gonna go left? And then there was her spirit. She went left, but there was a spirit that didn't go left, and the spirit was always in the back of her mind. So from that point on in her path of life, whatever she did, and she created this and she created that, and so on and so forth. But that other part of her mind that didn't go left was always there on a conscious or subconscious level, and every single step that she took, every single thing that she created, every single song that she sang, every single thing that she ate, every single dance move that she danced, it's like, well, if I would have not gone left, if my thought would have gone not left, that in a way create it's kind of like the subatomic particle of being in this orbit or that orbit. And if when she went left there was a spaceship, which, because she's goddess, she created a spaceship, but had she been right, the spaceship would have been further away. And in a Taurus, at some point, the two reconnect and they see the spaceship from the left and from the right, and hello, 2001 Space Odyssey. But when 2001 A Space Odyssey comes together with all of this, no matter how you multiply or fractalize every single instant in which one part of her mind goes left, another part of the mind goes right, or up or down, or turns around or stays still, they constantly always converge. Because if one part of her spirit went left while another part of her spirit went and or imagined right, because this is a mythological story, we could say that it wasn't imaginary, it was another part of her that went right, or another form of her spirit, or whatever. There's no getting around the fact that when she went left, she saw a fucking spaceship. And in the story. And so whatever other part of her went right, eventually would have to deal with the fact that there was a spaceship on the left when that other part went left. And so one part of her, the goddess split in two. One part of her went left, the other one stayed still, or went right, or didn't go left, and so on and so forth. And they had their different experiences in different parts of the universe, which were all her manifestation, and so on and so forth. But for every single thing that one part of her encountered or created, there were other things that the other part of her that went the other way encountered or created. And the universe in this Taurus thing is all of the parts encountering and or creating all of the other parts. And at some point, what was encountered or created was the Earth, and on the Earth were these scientists that were looking at subatomic particles, and they were going, well, with all the things that were created and encountered on one side, and all the things that were created and encountered on the other side, and then all the sides that were created, and so on and so forth. Here's the Earth, here's an atom that we're looking at, and in this atom, there's only two possibilities. Either this subatomic particle is in this orbit around the nucleus, or it's in that other orbit. And when the two, which ultimately became countless aspects of the goddess, came together as they always do, that atom that subatomic particle either was in that orbit or it was in the other orbit. And if you pretend or imagine that moment when the scientist is looking at that atom and it's saying, wait a second, where is the subatomic particle? And the subatomic particle has got several orbits that it can be in, spinning around the nucleus. But if you imagine that at that moment, which happens continuously, all of the awareness aspects of the goddess and the universe and the sides of this and the sides of that are looking in, it turns out that because every side has to bump with every side, and every aspect of the goddess has to bump with every aspect of the goddess, and every side of and everything that's created or done or encountered has to deal with everything else that's created or encountered or done. You put it all, it's always putting itself together, and if we bring it down to two, the part of the goddess that went left and the part of the goddess that went right, you can look at it as the part of the goddess that went right In order for everything in her perception of, and for everything to be compatible with everything else that she has seen and done, when she's looking at the atom, the goddess that went right, the part of the goddess that went right, the only thing that can make sense is that that atom has to be either, that subatomic particle has to be there, or with the other goddess, the other part of the goddess that went left, with everything that she's encountered and all the sides that she's seen and done. That if she's looking at that same atom, that the other part of her went the other way, but now they're looking at the same atom. There are only so many orbits where that subatomic particle can spin around the nucleus of the atom. And maybe one time the goddess of the left has it her way, the other instant the goddess of the right has it their way. If she has it their way, that subatomic particle is going to be in that orbit. If the other one has it her way, the subatomic particle is going to be in that other orbit. And there's reality for you. I'm titling this playlist for now, do 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 do.